Hello, my friends. I did the World Conquest run as a Byzantium. It's not one tag. I have colonies and also some vassals as banks and even some tributary of some people who are ex-territorial, so I can conquer them. And also a few backed vassals with infinite truce, who I might replay one day, last 10 years, and offer them as a tribute in a winning war to break our relationship and then conquer them. But for now, I'm done. So I will show you how it looks like. This is Constantinopolis. Almost 3,000 wells. And this is how map looks like. And diplomacy. So as you can see, I don't have anybody who I can rival because all of them are my colonies and subjects. Mostly it's colonial nations and vassals who are banks. I started and played all the game as a Byzantium. As you can see, I still have almost 5 years. So 5 years in the end game, it's a pretty big amount. You can still conquer a lot of countries, a lot of land. About map mods, this is how religion looks like. I was playing as Orthodox. So some places like Europe, which I conquered earlier, are mostly converted. The rest of the world, of course, not. This is about integrations. I definitely wasn't able to integrate everything. Green is fully cored. It means integrated and accepted culture. Yellow is just integrated but not accepted culture. I have some limit. I could go over limit, but didn't really needed it. About culture, also you can see Greeks are mostly in Balkan and Anatolia region. Initially, I thought I would have time to convert much more land and fully core it. But then I was in a endless conquest mode, let's say, and wasn't really able to stop and assimilate everything I have. So it was a race. And just a bit later, I will show you some saves so you could see the progress, how it went. Another issue I found, I didn't use some exploits or anything, just played as a Byzantium and conquered everything. It was pretty easy in the early game because of Restore Roman Borders CB. So you do not create a lot of antagonism and don't have a very big coalition against you. For the first part of the game, where I build my economic base, I didn't have coalition at all, I guess. Like until I conquered a lot of Italy and France region. This is how my control looks like. So as you can see, my initial economic base, it is the only place where I have any control. The rest of the world is looks pretty red. Same about proximity. This is about maritime presence. Again, initial part is all green, and the rest of the world, it depends. Yeah, where I have some ports and harbors, it looks green. In other places, it might be not as good. This is literacy. I guess I build temples everywhere in this area, and then maybe somewhere eventually. And in some places I built universities, but not too much. I still had so big research progress that I was able to learn every advance I wanted. And I tried to choose things I needed the most. So as you can see, I still have some things not researched in Age of Tradition even, same for Renaissance and others. In Age of Discovery, let's say, yeah, here I used composition of all infantry's cavalry and falconets, yeah, artillery and auxiliaries. But then in last 2 ages, I didn't use cavalry at all. They fall off in the late game. It's only 1,000 guys with 4 power, so it's 4,000 power a year. And in comparison with the musketeers, for example, yeah, it's a lot bigger, a much bigger amount. Also, in the last part of the game, I was like for last 100 years, I was in net negative balance. However, as you can see, I don't have any bonds, any credits. That's because of this request emergency grants. They provided me like from 1 to 2 millions every 5 years. And it was enough to live with net negative amount. However, it wasn't very big. Sometimes it was like minus 10,000 or something. I did it on purpose to overextend. Actually, it wasn't overextended. Yeah, you can see my limit of regulars is very big. However, at some point, at this stage of the game, I already deleted some. But at some point, I have 3.5 million guys. And even with pretty big army maintenance efficiency, 78%. And I guess I could push it to 100 if I wish with a reform military regime, but I didn't want it to change my succession law. So as a Byzantium, you can easily stack this army maintenance thing. In the last 100 years, I also changed some of my values. Like initially started decentralization, but then I pushed to the centralization, innovative, humanist, to remove some rebels. By the way, some late game rebels are packed. Sometimes they spawn like 3 wars at once, and you actually have to fight some wars. But sometimes it is just one war, like it says that it spawns. However, you don't see anything spawned, and you immediately have a next button, and it's all. revolters, and you just press it and get rid of all of them. I'm not sure what is this bug about and what is it. I didn't use any exploit for that. However, this how the game worked in the current stage, patch 1.3. And I don't use any mods or anything. Okay, about values. Aristocracy and plutocracy, I didn't really push anything. Sometimes try to reduce aristocracy to reduce noble's power. But it's also a pretty good one for discipline. Here, of course, serfdom to maximum. Mercantilism, I didn't really have choice. Look how big is natural push because you control all market centers. In the first part of the game, I pushed to conciliatory to have higher diplomatic reputation. And then in the last 100 years, I pushed to maximum of belligerent. It was hard to push, but let's say last 50 years, it was like 50%. But in the last 50 years, I had a lot of events with governments, like one guy against another one, and you choose, do you want 10 push of belligerent or 10 push of conciliatory? And of course, I pushed belligerent to the maximum to have vast core efficiency, so I could conquer faster. Also, initially, it was a push at the beginning of the game, it was a push to quality. And then I changed it to quantity with all possible cases I had. So right now it's Ministry of Conscript Logistics reform, peasant levies law, as army policy law, and large standing army law. And also pushed it with a head of cabinet guy with almost 100 of diplomacy modifier. However, I don't have the guy now. It was some time ago. And then I also had some events to push even further. Same for offensive. You want to push it as much as you can to have siege and assault ability and logistic distance. Logistic distance is very important modifier, especially when you try to fight somewhere in Persia or in Indochina. There are jungles and mountains with really low supply, or in mountains like here in Tibet or somewhere, the supply is really low, and the distance defines if you can really access the supply source or cannot, and how much guys you will lose because of that. I also had several army compositions, like this one, for example. This is a regular one for sieging in territories with low supply. So you can see they're much over the regiment's limits. It's 30 infantry, 10 artillery, and 50 auxiliaries. But they have like 4 years of supply, so they could easily stay somewhere for years and siege it down. This one, for example, a bit smaller, just 30 auxiliaries, but still pretty big amount of supply. And this is actually the way how I changed a lot of my armies to have high supply and not worry about that. However, when I fight in Europe, for example, mostly, I had guys with just 10 or even 5 auxiliaries. Like this one, for example. This one, like I could even extend this some cavalries for bonus or more infantry, and they would still be not our limit. So they will be stronger, but at this stage of the game, I didn't play so precisely. I still had much more guys and economy power and everything else to conquer the world. So I didn't bother with rebuilding all my army. Then, of course, naval. When you play Byzantium or Ottoman or anybody in the Mediterranean Sea, I guess you have to push naval. Or even in other regions, yeah, like Spicy Islands or anywhere else except some big land countries like maybe in the middle of India or in East Europe. Maybe then you would play as land, but in this patch naval is so much superior that you just have to go that way. Why is this so important? Look, here you have proximity cost with maritime presence -1, and then you have, let me find this, administration of shipyard, even less proximity cost, and then you have proximity impacts through port, and extra naval governors, and in late game, even some more advances to reduce proximity costs through naval. And look at this proximity map mod, for example. This location, just random one, like even natural harbor is pretty bad here, yeah. For this one, it would be much better. Let's see, maybe compare it. So, yeah, in this case, we go this road. But okay, let's compare this one with a good natural harbor suitability. We get proximity from Constantinopolis here. And it's 80%. However, look how long the road is. And each step on this road is just 173 points. And imagine this distance through the land, yeah? It's somewhere like here. Like even somewhere I have the most modern roads, trail roads, and it's still much, like 2 times less. So through level you could push proximity and control very easily, and it's accessible much earlier than railroad or anything. So this hub could get a lot of control and money from your economic base land. Usually it's your starting initial base, yeah. Okay, a bit more about values, traditional economy and communalism. Here I would probably want to push inwards for crown power, but it doesn't really matter. Then I went to liberalism to have more culture capacity and aesthetic satisfaction equilibrium, and to not have to remove important privileges from my estates, which I liked. And here most of the game I had very high push to Romanismus, and I actually used it for some cheap stability. But at some point, I had to reduce it with other points to be able to push humanist, because pushing humanist was not very easy. But I had to do this for extra tolerance and actually pop assimilation speed as well. What else is important? Yes, this is how my economy looks like. Wealth is almost 4 times higher than tax base. However, when I had just Roman borders, I had much better comparison. Maybe like tax base was like 60% of wealth. And I compared it to the rest of the world. Of course, it's went to this situation, but you can see that still, uh, if I wouldn't pay for some of the slider, like maybe removal force right now, yeah, I would be net positive. Or if I don't pay for army or reduce it, or never. For trade income, it's in the end of the game become pretty laggy. I had a lot of lag, so as you can see, when I try to show you some income things, it lags for a while, so I wouldn't. And I guess this mostly it. Now I will show you some of my saves, so you can see how it progresses through the game. Yeah, then I played to the last day, and then just loaded to show you how it looks like. I wouldn't show you the very beginning, but maybe every 50 years or something. So, 1350. This is how it looks like in 3050. And I guess I already had, yeah, I had local governor in Thessaloniki, will throw it to Smyrna. Mostly I played without subjects, even though I had some low control in some areas. But in this patch, I decided to just keep everything for myself and integrate it. As you can see, I mostly work on integrating, stabilizing because I have negative stability, and pushing communalism from the very beginning. I guess what's important also, I will show you economy and army size. So the year 1400, I have plus 376 income, and my army is just slaves. However, this income might be wrong sometimes. Let me play 1 month to be sure. Yeah, you see, after 1 month, it fixes. I guess it's some bug with this version of the game still, when some trades are broken after loading the game, and they being fixed in a month stick, so actually income even higher, almost 400. But border didn't change much. However, I already have local governor in Spirne, and control looks much better. Now 1450. Yeah, here you can see I conquered part of Bulgaria, Serbia, and the whole of Serbia created a. Yeah, I created a subject here to be able to ask for cultural improve cultural opinion. Also conquered all of Anatolia. This actually the moment, yeah, where I already have create Roman borders, casus belli. So conquering all of this was kind of easier. Okay, I will play 1 month again to see the real income. So income almost 1,000. However, I have pretty, yeah, I have expenses because of diplomatic spending. I probably used it just to complete some peace deals. So pretty good amount, I guess. And yeah, I'm inside of the war with 2 Sicilies. Actually, Naples conquered Sicily and created Sicily's country. And yeah, we have all of Anatolia without control at all. But soon I will integrate it. Yeah, as you can see, I have a lot of integrations. Build a local governor in Ankara and maybe somewhere here. So the situation looks much better, and maybe a naval governor somewhere here. About armies, yeah, I have 15,000 of cavalry, and I built those guys who are specific for Byzantium. However, I weren't able to upgrade them, even if I, like in the next age, I had their next, let's say, generation of those cataphracts. But I had no button to upgrade, so I had to delete them and rebuild manually. So that's why I didn't build those guys anymore in the late game. I just used regular cavalry and light and heavy. The 1500. So here my economy looks like that. 2,000 income. I already pushed centralization, so I changed a lot of laws and removed a lot of not reforms, but yeah, privileges. And started to push innovative and humanist. And conciliatory, because initially I had big giant push. So I still have pretty similar borders, however I can call it Italian. But as you can see, I still don't have any coalition against me, so I of course continuously improve opinion, and even with such land, I don't have any coalition, so I can easily expand further. Yes, this income, and from army, let's see what I have. Yeah, I have just 5 regular infantry, and the specific cavalry. Okay, I guess we can jump to 100 years to not make it too long. First part of the game, I mean till the year 1737, yeah, till the age of revolution. It was kind of slow pace game. Yeah, you can see I conquered North of Africa where I didn't have any antagonism to anybody, like nobody care about this region. Maybe Mali just a bit, or this Fizan. No, either Fizan doesn't care. Yeah, Morocco doesn't like it. However, Morocco will be soon disappear. But actually, I already have some coalition, pretty small one, but still, in north of Italy and also France and Spain. Would be in the coalition, so I had to continuously attack them all the time, just at the end of the truce. So this is how borders looks like. This is how control looks like. So I have, yeah, I don't even have local governor in Ankara for now. Maybe I moved it temporarily. Yeah, I have it here. And pretty high control in the coast region, and I built mostly I built wharves and docks and protected harbors everywhere on the coast. Also, I tried to urbanize all coast locations. As you can see in my urbanization map mod, yeah, all the coast is urbanized. Here I didn't urbanize it yet, but I will do it later. And most of regular land as well. And in all non-urbanized location, I built bailiffs. And all towns with more than 30,000 guys will be also upgraded to cities one day. Yeah. And income now is 10,000. However, we spend like also really a lot of money went to the bureaucracies. But I guess soon my income will be much higher, so I would make like 3,000 a month or something. So I would build a city a month or something, or even 2 cities a month. And so yeah. About regiments, yeah, I already have 4 standing armies who looks like that. They a bit different, but I guess my main idea was to make them like that, to have maximum bonus of 15 of heavy cavalry, and then 5 of each regiments just for the bonus. And formation, yeah, I just broke the formation. But formation would be to have 10 infantry in the middle, 10 of cavalries per side, yeah. Maybe 10 heavy in left, 5 heavy, 5 light in right side, and artilleries in the back row. So they shoot at the beginning and maybe then join battle in the later stage. Okay, now the year 137. This is the moment when the Age of Revolution begins, and it changes a lot, because this is the moment where you already built your economy and your economy base and built your army, and you are ready to conquer like non-stop, do a lot of conquests. So this is how it looks now. Those are colonies from Spain, I guess. So we have such territory. I developed HRE. Didn't even conquer full of France or England. This is how my let's pass a month to fix trade. Yeah, I make almost 40,000 a month with 35,000 of expenses. My army right now 1.5 million guys. However, I will increase it to 3.5 pretty soon. And this is a moment where you actually already have to have your spy networks training at this point of time. So you could start to immediately create a very good casus belli imperialism. However, as you can see, I failed a bit, so I still have to wait for like 6 more months, or 5, to be able to create this casus belli. This integration, so I already we're not able to integrate everything I want. Yeah, you can see I have pretty big list. However, also pretty soon. Oh no, it was in Age of Absolutism, I guess. This moment when you integrate not province but user area, yeah. So this is a moment where you create imperialism casus belli and conquer really a lot, because imperialism have 35% reduction for war score cost. And together with all other war score cost reduction stacking, mostly it's from age bonuses. I guess I choose almost all of them. Usually they are in diplomatic focus. So in age of Renaissance, I choose diplomatic focus. In age of discovery, I'm quite sure have to check it, but it looks like it was military bonus. And I guess I choose military for maybe for this antagonism and some tolerance or something. In Age of Renaissance, it was for diplomatic reputation to have less antagonism, and maybe worst score cost. I don't really remember if you have worst score cost. Okay, in Age of Reformation, let's see what I choose. It seems like also diplomatic. Actually, not diplomatic, but it seems like administrative. And seems like for tolerance. Yeah, culture capacity, extra tolerances, and I guess for his, you should also have tolerance for hidden somewhere here. And in Age of Absolutism, it was diplomatic, most likely for war score reduction. And in Age of Revolutions, so maybe it shows it like, no, that's it. Yeah, in Age of Revolution, I also choose diplomatic for war score efficiency. So with all war score efficiency, the Byzantium doesn't have country bonuses or culture bonuses for war score efficiency, as they know, but also with pushing into belligerent and age bonuses. And this CB, you can conquer really a lot in each war. And this is how control looks like. And economy. And let's see, like in 50 years. It's 50 years after we got imperialism CB. So it's 1787. So just in 50 years, we conquered almost everything. So initially, I conquered this part. Of course, continue fighting England and France, and did a foothold in India, and then fight India countries and did a foothold in the China, and of course fight everyone here. So you can see we just have some two strong countries in India, Janagar and Orissa, China guy, and a lot of island guys left. So as you can see, yeah, well, what is most important is to have high and pretty good economic base and a big army, but not exactly very big land. Yeah, like you don't need all of this till 1737. We were like this big, pretty big though, because Byzantium, Siberia, Roman border is pretty OP. But still, even if you are a small country, but with high economy base, big army, and you are ready to start conquering a lot after absolutism, after Age of Revolution and imperialism, sorry, you still could do the world conquest. Yeah, let's see how my economy changed. Yeah, you can see that now I all the time in the net negative amount. However, I live with emergency grants. So after months passed and trades fixed, you can see it's just minus 8,000 a month. So I had one, yeah, I had one bond which I paid later, but that's it. No credits, it's just this bond. And this is sphere control, pretty similar to what you already seen at the beginning. Okay, and that's it, I guess. At the beginning, you've seen the last date when I conquered last country. Well, let me think if I If I missed anything, I will wanna show you. State privileges or laws. Let me know if you wanna see them, but I don't find them very interesting for now. This is how hegemonies looks like. Army size. I put also exploration and colonies on the automation. And this is how I built my networks and imperialism CB on everyone. So yeah, you have a lot of countries and you have to track all of them. What was the bottlenecks? Yeah. Pretty hard thing was to control wars in different parts of the world all the time. And this is like most tough thing in the war conquest, I guess. But other like bottlenecks or hard parts, yeah. First of all, it's of course to build economic base where you have everything integrated, have high control, and a lot of money. So you could keep big army. Another thing is to have a lot of seats, of course. I mean, cabinet seats, and Byzantium is pretty good with it, with the bureaucracies. For other countries, it might be a bit harder, however, still pretty doable, yeah. So to create a CB, you don't need them. You just need them to core initially and assimilate, etc., etc. Then, of course, handle coalitions against you. In the very beginning, I would suggest to not have coalition against you. So sometimes you could just take less land, just more money, but less land, and not have coalition. And in a slow pace, build your strong economy. But later on, you still have to do it. And also important thing, you might have stacked complacency, yeah, which would be a disaster. And how to handle it? Have threatened rivals and have coalition against you. So right now coalition, I guess not. Yes, they are in coalition, but it's not. Actually, it's shown. Yeah, it's minus 0.5 because of coalition. So when you have rivals, have coalition, and have higher control than me right now, and it's not hard usually because at this point I have a lot of zeros. You would have your complacency reducing. And to push control in the early game, of course, it's much easier with naval if you have some coast and you're a coast country, not a land base, not on the landlocked base. And of course, to avoid coalition, don't forget to upgrade, to improve opinions, and maybe even put a guide to diplomatic endeavors, so you could improve relationship faster. And I guess it also improves passive, really passive thing, like reducing antagonism per year or something. Not sure for how, but need to check it. And when you compare everything, don't be afraid to be net negative, because like, why would you need money when you have everything? Yeah, you can pay your debts later, and look how much in debt I can get. Like, it's like almost 50 millions of credits, and government bonds. I'm not sure how much I can have, but I guess like 15 or 20. So it's like another 10-15 millions of bonds. So I could get to a really big debt if needed, where I didn't even need it to conquer everything. And this was it. My small, no, not very small, but probably big overview and a small guide and maybe some tricks for you if you also want to achieve your conquest. And if you still have any questions, please write in a comment. And thank you for watching and wish you have fun and great games. Bye.